Assalamualaikum, my dear students. Hope you are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. Welcome to NIBS Home School. This is Shahjadi Akter, Assistant Teacher of Science of National Ideal English Version School, Day Shift. Today I am going to take a physics class for class 9 students. And our today's topic, Chapter 1. Chapter 1, reading done from page number 1 to 6. And this is our lecture number 1. So my dear students, let's start our class. This is our first chapter and our chapter name is physical quantities and their measurement. Our chapter name is physical quantities and their measurement. My dear students, let's start our class physics. Lesson number 1. Physics is the most ancient branch of science. It is because scientists started studying and practicing astronomy, the most important branch of physics, before other branches of science had flourished. Besides being the oldest branch, physics can say to be the most fundamental branch of science. Chemistry flourished on the basis of physics, and biology flourished on the basis of chemistry, and again many other subjects flourished on the basis of biology. Generally, we can say that the branch of physics that tries to understand matter and energy. Okay, my dear students, see, matter and energy and the interaction between them is called physics. What is called physics? Matter and energy and the interaction between them is called physics. Dear students, we have learned in our previous class what is matter. Matter means things that have weight and takes up space is called matter, and energy means energy is the ability to do things. Okay. Now, what is physics? Matter and energy and the interaction between them is called physics. You must have realized that here physics does not refer to only the visible things around us, but also the things such as molecules, atoms, electrons, protons, neutrons, quarks and string, etc. Again, energy may encompass strong and weak nuclear energy apart from our known potential energy, kinetic energy, gravitational energy or electromagnetic energy. Now, we will discuss scope of physics. Since physics is the oldest and most fundamental branch and other branches somehow flourished on the basis of physics, it is very natural that the scope of physics is very vast. Not only that, different technologies have flourished based on different laws of physics, and we are using these in our daily lives. There are examples of some instruments used in medical science in the last chapter. At present, the greatest contribution behind civilization is of electronics, and physics has the greatest contribution to this technology also. Besides daily activities from destruction of war to space exploration, the contribution of physics is present. Not only that, by the combination of other branches of science and physics, newer branches have developed. For example, astrophysics consists of astronomy and physics. In order to explain organic process, biophysics has been built up by the combination of biology and physics. Chemical physics was born by the combination of chemistry and physics. Use of physics in geology has developed geophysics. Medical physics has flourished using physics. Therefore, the area of physics is very vast and deep as well. Dear students, we have learned the scope of physics, and for the advantage of teaching learning, we may divide physics into two principal parts. We have divided physics into two principal parts, and these are classical physics and modern physics. Okay, now we'll discuss what is classical physics. This contains mechanics, sound, heat and thermodynamics, electricity and magnetism and optics. Classical physics contains mechanics, sound, heat and thermodynamics, electricity and magnetism and optics. And modern physics contains quantum mechanics and theory of relativity. These are molecular and atomic physics, nuclear physics, solid state physics and particle physics. Now, we have mentioned earlier that many kinds of technologies have been developed in the world using physics or other branches of physics. Using these technologies, we have made our lives comfortable and meaningful. The invention of some dangerous technology has endangered not only our lives but also the existence of our earth. Sometimes unjustified and unnecessary technology has destroyed the resources of our earth along with creating pollution. So remember that technology is not always good. As there are good technologies in the world, also there are bad technologies. Using your conscience, you have to understand which technology is good or bad. Physics was not built in a single day. It took hundreds of years to develop. The physicists tried to explain with the help of laws the mysterious world around them. Sometimes those laws were accepted, changed or rejected through experiments. Thus we are able to explain microscopic particles of matter to shape of largest universe, and we are learning continuously. Perhaps this learning is not complete still now. Scientists are trying to make it complete. It will be possible to explain everything of apparently different subjects with the help of few laws one day. My dear students, come to next page. Development of physics. Modern civilization is the contribution of science. This advancement of science has not been achieved in a day. The modern science reached its present state gradually following tireless labor of innumerable scientists and researchers. It has to be remembered that in ancient time the exchange of information was not so easy. It was very difficult to convey the results of research to one another. Books were written by hand. From the number of such books were very few. Courage was needed to express views against conventional faiths. There are examples of imprisonment or even scientists being burned to death, but the search for knowledge was not stopped, and exploring the mysteries of nature, the scientists have given us this modern science as gift. We can describe the history of physics by dividing it into different stages. Now we will discuss the history of physics. Initial stage: Greek, Indian subcontinent, China, and the contribution of Muslim civilization. Okay, we'll discuss the Greek, Indian subcontinent, China, and contribution of Muslim civilization. What we understand by physics at present was introduced in the ancient times by the combination of astronomy, optics, dynamics, geometry, and an important branch of mathematics. The name of Greek scientists, my dear students, highlight this line. The name of the Greek scientist Thales, 624 to 586 BC, that means before Christmas, can be mentioned especially because he was the first to deny explanations which were only based on religion, myth, and extrasensory perception, but without logic. Thales predicted about the solar eclipse and knew about the magnetic property of limestone. This is very important MCQ. Pythagoras, this is very important MCQ. Pythagoras was remarkable among the mathematicians and scientists of that time. We know Pythagoras is a mathematician and scientist. He had fundamental works on vibrating wire along with geometry. Greek philosopher Democritus, this is also very important MCQ. Greek philosopher Democritus presented the idea first the matter has indivisible units. This is called atom. My dear students, this is very important MCQ. And Greek philosopher Democritus presented the idea first that matter has indivisible units, that is called atom, and this name used by modern physics. It is not acceptable to all since there was no chance to prove his idea by any scientific process. The theory that everything was made of soil, water, air, and fire by the greatest philosopher and scientist of that time, Aristotle, was much more acceptable. Aristarchus first gave the idea of sun-centered solar system. This is also very important MCQ. Aristarchus first gave the idea of sun-centered solar system. His follower Caecilius proved those ideas with arguments, although these arguments have been lost with time. Greek science and mathematics reached its peak at the time of Archimedes, the greatest scientist of all times. The upward thrust of liquids is still included in the content of science. He assisted during the war by setting enemy ships on fire by converging the solar light using the spherical mirror. There was another scientist of Greek era named Eratosthenes determined the radius of the earth accurately at that time. After that, the development of science came to a standstill for almost 1,500 years. Only the civilization of the Indian, Muslims and Chinese keep practicing the study of science following Greek convention. In the Indian subcontinent, Aryabhatta and Brahmagupta and Bhaskar did a lot of valuable works on mathematics and astronomy. Zero was effectively used in the Indian subcontinent. The name of Al-Khwarizmi, this is very important MCQ. The name of Al-Khwarizmi has to be especially mentioned among the Muslim mathematician and scientist. The present name algebra has come from the book Al-Jabr written by him. Ibn al-Hayyum is considered as the founder of optics. Al-Masudi wrote an encyclopedia of 30 parts regarding the history of nature. Everyone knows that the name of Omar Khayyam is a poet, but he is also a highly famous mathematician, astronomer and philosopher. Chinese mathematicians and scientists have done a lot of work in physics. Okay, my dear students, hope you have understood our today's topic. This is very important chapter for MCQ. All of you can take the important MCQ and keep practice at home. So my dear students, see you again. Allah Hafiz.